So, welcome back to season two of IPT2. And after taking the last maybe 6 months or so to kind of just get a lot of project work out of the way, we are back. So, this episode is really going to be about the kind of personal trainer's journey and their own mental health. Because when this podcast was originally thought about, we were looking at lots of different experiences that other personal trainers had, our own experiences, and it was also the month of mental health awareness when we planned to originally come out with this podcast. So we wanted to look at the realities of mental health and personal training. We talk a lot about how we can help clients, how we can help other people. We talk about advocating for others and advocating mental health for others as part of the process of getting people to their goals. But we never really talk about the mental health struggles of the personal trainer themselves. And if we look at them, there are so many different mental health issues that personal trainers can come across in their career. Not just, as we said, for their clients out there, but also for just themselves. When we look at a typical personal trainer, they get into the industry because they have had some issues themselves. Sometimes it has been weight loss, sometimes it has been bullied at school or bullied in the workplace. Sometimes it is depression and anxiety. Sometimes it is body dysmorphia and all sorts of other things that people have overcome and then wanted to go on to help others with. Because with that experience comes a little bit of wisdom. And even as I talk about this myself, one of the biggest factors that drove me to personal training was my own weight and my own injuries in the past. Injuries then causing the weight gain that I ended up having. So we all come into the industry wanting to help most of the time these days. There are still outliers who come into the industry solely to make money. But again, we tend to come into the industry because we want to be helpful. We want to help other people. So when we look at that, already the personal trainer has had trauma, they've had mental health issues, and the reality of that is some of them have got good methods of coping, they have seen success. But some personal trainers bring that with them into what they do as a personal trainer. And this can be something that affects the longevity of a personal trainer. Now, what do I mean by affects the longevity? Typically, the industry still sees personal trainers drop out within the first year. And a lot of the time, that's blamed on bad business or not selecting the correct place to go work in, and some other issues that we will cover in a podcast at another point. But have we ever looked at the fact that the personal trainer's mental health is a factor there as well? Now, let's look at that. You are a first time personal trainer thrown onto the gym floor and you have to go speak to people. Now, for some, that is going to cause mental health issues in itself. It's maybe going to be debilitating. It can cause basically non-firement of your business because you don't know how to go speak to people. That's not your thing. You got in personal training to help others, not to go speak to people and be a salesman. Also, when we look at it, some people, that is just not their personality type. And certainly, most human beings in the world do not like rejection. And personal training, you will have massive rejection. You will get rejection on a daily basis if you are speaking to people and talking with them about potentially taking up your services, because that's the nature of the business. Not everybody will want to train with you, not everybody will value your input. That in itself can cause mental health issues when you don't feel valued in the place that you are. Uh, and these all start to play on the mind of personal trainers. It certainly played on my own mind way back in the day, when you don't feel like you are good enough. First of all, coming out of a personal training course, that you possibly aren't equipped enough to understand how to train people. You have maybe imposter syndrome, which again is part of the mental health picture of most personal trainers. They don't feel like they could ever learn enough. Certainly, I am one of those people who has massive imposter syndrome. And no matter how many courses I do, no matter how much I learn, how much experience or wisdom I get, I still don't feel like I am in the top echelon of trainers. And even when I personally won the PT of the Year award in the UK, I didn't feel like I deserved that. I didn't feel like I was deserving of being in a room with some of the best bodybuilders, minor celebrities, with sports people. I didn't feel that was my place because I had imposter syndrome. And as much as I had bravado to get up and accept the awards, you still don't feel like you deserve it. And going all the way back to when I first stepped onto the gym floor, and I had to go and say, I'm a good trainer to people who had never met me. I had to try say that with some conviction, even although I was well, I trained people before, but I was really starting a new job from scratch. And how can you say you're the best at a job when you've never done it before? It's quite hard to wrap your mind around. So again, that can cause there to be poor mental health because you're facing an issue where you don't really know how to resolve it. And yes, there should come a time in your career where you feel comfortable and confident in your placement within the industry. And certainly now I feel comfortable and confident to teach on all the things I've learned. But there also will be other things that personal trainers will face. That could be money woes, it could be home issues. And really, we don't talk about that because, again, we're still outwardly focused on those people we're trying to help. And although that should be a really good thing to focus on, the fact of the matter is, and this is a saying that I tell a lot of people, is you can't pour from an empty cup. If there's nothing in the tank, you can't go anywhere. That's another quote for you. we need to make sure that we are feeling good. We are topped up as personal trainers to be able to help other people, to pour our energy, our expertise, our essence into a job role that requires us to then maybe give help to people with mental health issues. Now, although we as personal trainers shouldn't directly be the influence of mental health support for a client, we should obviously be looking at supporting that client and helping them with the physical, helping them with the nutritional, and these things then go on to support their mental health. But who helps the personal trainer when they're so busy they can't train? So there's no endorphins, there's no happiness within the personal trainer's life. Who helps the personal trainer who has mental health issues themselves because they have a little bit of body dysmorphia, because they have issues going on at home? Now, that's not to say every personal trainer will not have somebody to speak to. They won't have a support system in place or whatever else. What we need to remember is personal trainers are human beings, and human beings tend to have things they need to resolve through their life. And it could be that a personal trainer gets too busy and they put on a little bit of weight. So then that starts to affect their mentality. It could be the personal trainer who doesn't feel like they are big enough. They are not manly enough. They are just not enough. And how do we help personal trainers who have these feelings? And they're all valid feelings. They're all things that many different trainers go through: not feeling big enough, not feeling attractive enough, not feeling that they belong, not feeling part of the workplace, and so many more. I mean, really, when you think about personal trainers and their struggles and the things that can mentally break them, they have so many. But that very first hurdle that most trainers have to get over is the fear of rejection to just even be able to start their own business. And how horrible is that if you've never faced rejection in your life? What if you're a good looking person, you've done well at school, and then you come into this environment where people tell you no? And for the first time in your life, you're really getting told a lot of the time, I don't want your help and support. I don't want you in my life. I don't need you in my life. That can really cause a massive detrimental effect to the trainer and cause them to leave the industry, doubt themselves, become even worse with their imposter syndrome. But I think if we start to cultivate, and this has only been in the past maybe 5 years, because it hasn't always been this way. And to be honest, it's maybe even getting a little bit worse. But if we actually create teams of trainers within a workplace, we have a good team, then you can bounce off of each other when you're in the staff room, when you have those moments, and in the wider environment of the management team being there as well. And I can talk from experience on this because I was a manager once upon a time. If you're there to support trainers who want the support, first of all, because not every trainer will want the support, but if you're there and your team are all of sound mind and good judgment, you can have a very good workplace where there is little mental health issues, because the team solve them within the team itself. you have people who are strong in maybe the areas of empathy, and they're the people who are the ones who support those who need empathy. And you could have other people who are a little bit older and can talk with a wise head. And then you can obviously have that structure of management being there to overall support. Now, not every manager is going to be able to do that. Not every personal trainer is going to be able to do that. But again, this is where wise choices from the manager should come in to be able to create something within the team itself and then cultivate that and make that the culture of the gym. Because if these are a bunch of people who want to help other people with their goals, with ultimately their mental health, because happiness does a lot of the time come from the goals people achieve, then you have to also, as a manager, understand the goals of the personal trainer, the things they want to achieve, what makes them tick, and help them along the way. If you have a trainer who suffers from a little bit of body dysmorphia because they were overweight in the past, then it's good to positively reinforce when they're looking good on some days and give them that little spur about training and be the person, because some of the team will do that for you, but also you have to take responsibility and remember that these are your people, these are your clan, of want of a better word, and support them. Make sure they feel good. Make sure that they are not over comparing themselves with other trainers, not over comparing themselves with people in the gym who might have a better physique. Some people are genetically gifted. Some people will struggle their entire life with their weight because they're not good at consistency. And you have to be part of the solution. Now, if you are a personal trainer who suffers from any kind of mental health issue and you need support because of the things that are happening in your life, like for instance that fear of rejection, that anxiety around talking to people, who is your support structure? Who can you go to talk about these things? Because if you clamp up and you do not talk about it, if you do not seek support, then you will struggle. You will struggle to maintain your business. You will struggle to maintain the work life balance. And that is a whole different field for mental health as well, with the work life balance of a personal trainer. Now, if you don't have a support structure, then by all means, we at IPT will be that support structure. By all means, message in, email, text, get support when it's needed. We do not want to see good people leave the industry because they didn't get the support they needed. And that was something I always try to get across to my students, always get across to my PTs when I worked as a PT, as a manager. And then when I did work as a PT, I also tried to be that support person within the team. You know, in the background when you're in the staff room and PTs are coming and going and you have a few minutes to chat and people are asking how things are going or how's things, it was never a case of one-upmanship. It was a case of, oh, you've got an injury. I might be able to help you with that. Or you've got a client who is being a bit erratic and not making you feel the best. Let's chat about it. You've got things going on at home that you don't want people to know about, but you'd like to chat about. By all means, chat my ear off. And in those moments, that's where you can create a real camaraderie with your team. But also, you can showcase that you're all in it together. And I think a lot of people, not just personal trainers, but people in general, forget that the human experience, although it's unique, we all go through it. So we all are going to go through similar things. And if we can use our experience, our wisdom, the things you learn, and support one another, we can get on a lot better. Now, if you have issues yourself, it might be hard to be the one who helps other personal trainers, that's for sure. So please seek your support first. But remember, there's so many people in this industry who want to support personal trainers. There are so many people who want to just be good people, not just take. And my experience of the industry is there is so many fantastic personal trainers that don't make it. So many fantastic people who, for whatever reason, have stepped away from the industry. But there is so many good people still there. And with the best of intentions, they want to make sure that you see success as well. So when we offer free support, we are literally talking about it being free. So many people are out there trying to make money off personal trainers and the things they're not good at. That we are looking at developing things that can make personal trainers better. So, first of all, and foremost of all, how do we get over the imposter syndrome? How do we get over the fear of rejection? How do we go about building our businesses better? How do we go about running our businesses better? These are things that need to be addressed and spoken about, because until we get these things right, there will be vultures out there who will try to get you to pay thousands of pounds to take their courses, and they will make you a better trainer. But all they're doing is actually diluting you as a person most of the time and making you more money focused. And that will be the eventual downfall of the personal training industry, because, like nurses and doctors who get paid well for what they do, so do personal trainers. And when doctors and nurses lose the passion for people, the passion of caring, that's when they tend to leave. That's when they tend to seek other things. That's when they tend to be not so good at their jobs. Although they may be qualified, it doesn't make you good. So to see a lot of personal trainers becoming so gimmicky and money focused and less focused on actually servicing the individual and now trying to service the mass, it really is something that probably stems from mental health, from the fact that they weren't as successful as they thought they were going to be, or from a narcissistic kind of placement where they want to be the center of their own story, and be at the forefront of everything that is out there. And That's the horrible thing about the world we currently live in, with social media being prevalent and personal trainers feeling they need to showcase every result they get, showcase what they're doing on a daily basis, showcase some extravagant exercise that actually makes no sense in the grand scheme of trying to train somebody. There is so much that social media digs into the mental health and the psyche of the personal trainer nowadays, that even deserves full attention by itself, not on this podcast. Because this podcast is really about discussing your mental health as a personal trainer, and can we solve any of the problems? Now, I could generically say this is what to do for imposter syndrome. This is what to do for the fact that you don't like rejection. This is what you could do for the fact that you're struggling with your own body image. But the reality is, just like the clients we have, we do need to seek each person as an individual and seek answers for them as an individual, because what works for one person will not always work when it comes to mental health. And this is why the best piece of advice I can give to any personal trainer out there is to seek your mentors and seek them well. Now, sometimes that will be the tutor from your course. Sometimes that will be a fellow comrade, somebody who was on your course, for instance. It might be another student who was studying with you, and you click and you have that ability to talk and make sense of the world that you are both in. Or it could be that, for instance, your management, or the person who manages you, is your mentor, your person to go to. It could be parents. Although, in my own personal speaking terms, my parents didn't understand the fitness world, so that was hard to speak to them about. It could be your girlfriend, your wife, your boyfriend, your husband. It could be anybody you feel is best placed to help you mentally. And if you can get more than one, then amazing. And if you can't, then, as we've said earlier in this podcast, reach out to us with your questions. We will answer them. We will always try to help anybody we can. We are not just about making money at IPT, and as a small business, IPT can do that. If we were a major corporation, we wouldn't be able to do that. If we were one of these major providers out there, we wouldn't be able to have smaller cohorts that focus more on each individual. So I want you to go and find those people, whoever they are, and make sure that you're topped up. Make sure that you are of sound mind. Make sure that when you're giving support, you're not just draining yourself day in, day out in another job that could have been the best thing in your life, but has now turned into a complete nightmare. Because when your mental health is not good, and then you hear other people complaining, things can quickly fall apart. Things can seem very minuscule in the grand scheme of things when you have maybe lost a loved one or somebody in your family, and that's affecting your mental health. And then some of your clients are talking about how they can't stop eating chocolate. These can be things that can really put you off the industry. It could be that you have not been very successful in the relationship department, and you are now trying to speak to people to get them to do personal training, and you are getting rejection after rejection after rejection. how bad is that going to make you feel? And how would you want to even be in this industry if that was the case? It just doesn't make sense. It never did for some people to just enter the industry and think it was going to fall at their feet. There is work to be done. And even then, when you have the overwhelming amount of workload in front of you that you are debilitated from even starting some of the programs you need to do, especially when you're a new personal trainer and you are still coming up with the way that you train people, if you've not got that nailed down already, how can you support those other people when you're not supported yourself? So I would love to drum on about mental health and personal trainers. I really do think it's an area that's not explored enough. I feel it's an area where people can help support more. I feel it's an area where you need to find the people that support you, because as a personal trainer, you may not want to seek professional advice. You may not need it. Some of these issues may be stuff you can talk through with your support, your mentors, your whoever. When there is serious issues, and again, we talk about depression a lot in this kind of day and age, people feeling depressed. Now, depression is low mood over a long time. It's not just a case of, I don't feel good today, I haven't been feeling good for a couple of weeks. That is not proper depression. Proper depression can affect people in all sorts of different ways. And even obviously, there is functional depression where you just go to work and do things every day, but you are depressed at home. We talk a lot about depression and how it affects people. And if it affects the personal trainer, they should seek proper medical advice. They should go speak to their GP. But as a personal trainer, we're always trying to help support other people, our clients, most of the time. And when we try to show that support to whoever needs it, and we are not helping ourselves, that is detrimental to having a business. That is detrimental to you having success, to your clients having success. And ultimately, if you got into the industry to help people, it's detrimental to anybody you're trying to help, because you're not going to be able to help them anymore. And I think that's probably a big takeaway from today's podcast is, if you're not right in the mind, in the way you feel, and you try to support other people, you're literally chipping away at yourself. You're literally going to be unable to help others, because how could you help others when you need a bit of support yourself? So seek it. Go and find those people that help you. That should be the takeaway from today. Finding those people, making sure you feel good, and then returning to those things that, for the best part of what you're trying to do, make you feel better. Because, and let's really think about this, when you see clients getting success, even when you get a little bit of success yourself, say you want to lose a little bit of weight, when you see that success, when you see those pounds going down on the scale, and I'm just taking a weight loss goal here, obviously, if you see that happen, you feel good. It releases endorphins. And when we look at our client success, that even makes us feel better. We feel more than if we had success for ourselves, because that's how we naturally feel as humans a lot of the time. We feel so much better giving than taking. And I obviously don't speak for everybody here. There are going to be people who obviously feel differently about it and they want to take. And those are people we want to avoid, obviously. But when you're a giver, when you are a person who wants to see others have success, you're going to feel great every time that you see that success. And to see that success, you need to be able to help those people. So make sure you're right before you move into helping others because you want to see that. That's why you got into the industry in the first place, to help, to see others have their success. So make sure you're right first. Make sure you are seeing some success for yourself. And bear in mind, success is a word that typically others jump upon to tell you what success is, but that's not how it should be. You determine what is success for yourself. Getting your first client could mean that you are successful as a personal trainer. It doesn't mean that you need to have 20, 30, 40, 50 clients to be a success as a personal trainer, because believe me, that does not make a good personal trainer. Having loads of clients and not gaining success with them is actually something that a bad personal trainer would do. So be a good personal trainer, seek your support, get your systems in place, and thrive. That would be the best word to describe what you'll do next, and that is thrive. Because once the issues you have playing in your mind are somewhat resolved, you'll be able to then speak to people with that great enjoyment again. You'll be able to pour energy into other people from that cup that is now completely full. And when you feel that good about what you do and the people you're helping, you don't have a spiral anymore that takes you to a bad place, but instead you're going to keep spiraling into good places, because who wouldn't when you're seeing success after success? As always, I've probably drummed on a little bit more than I could have, but this is a very important subject. And if you have any comments or anything you would like to talk about after hearing this podcast today, we would love you to get in contact and really let's keep the conversation going, because other personal trainers might not feel that they can speak up. So if you're the one that asks the question, if you're the one that speaks up, you might actually be helping others too. And that's why we called this podcast IPT2, because we all go through issues. We all have experiences and we can all help each other. So until the next episode, guys, please take care. We will be back with episodes weekly now until the end of the year, hopefully. There may be the odd week we miss due to other commitments. But please, now that we've restarted for season 2, we would love to hear what things you want to discuss, what topics you want to hear more about, what experiences we can then tell you about in this industry that we all love. So take care, and we will see you soon.